Hello, thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. For this cycle, I guess you would call it, I'm going to use the Awaken Tarot. I haven't used this one in a while, but I do like this deck. I think it was created like a group effort because it's got team, I always mess up the name, RYVE, so Reeve. And there's myreeve.com at the bottom if you want to check that out. So that way if you like this deck and you want to check it out, feel free to do so. There's that. The Oracle cards I'm going to be using are Energy Oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. Big fan of Sandra. And the website, that's why I got the book out. The websites are, am I on the right one? Yep, there are a bunch of Hay House websites. Feel free to freeze frame and go into any of those you're interested in. Sandra Ann Taylor, I think there's something on the back here too, so I'll show you that. Feel free to freeze frame and check out any of the information. I think there's a website at the bottom, or there's a Hay House Radio link there or something. And the last part is I do use dice. For the major arcana, I use a 22-sided dice. I use 22 as 0 for the Fool, and then, up to 21 is the World. And then I have a 14-sided dice for the minor arcana, and then I use a 4-sided dice to choose the element. And Math Art Fun, I think, is what the website is. If I get that close enough, hopefully you can see it. mathartfun.com if you want to find the dice. Alright, I think we're good with that. Of course, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you very much for watching, and now let's go on to your read. Hello, Aries. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. With that being said, what do we have for Aries? What do we have for Aries? Boom. Oh. Alright, let's get them all down before we get too excited, right? A lot of, alright, so certain things are going to happen no matter what we do. Okay. Certain things are going to happen no matter what we do. So, what do you want is a good question. Something has been stuck for a while, and I don't think I want it to be stuck. I just don't know what to do about it right now. Something is stuck. It's been stuck for a while. It's not moving. And it's time to make a decision. It's time to make a decision is what I'm getting. You got this energy of the Ace of Cups here. Alright, so I'm cheating and I'm looking ahead. So I know... Okay, so not everybody's going to like this. Whatever it is you want, not everybody's going to be a fan of it. I usually don't think of that as holding back Aries, but it depends. Like, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving pieces here, and it's kind of like... It's definitely going to be a culture shock here. It's going to defend? It's going to put you on defense. Because it's kind of like, I'm going to have to defend what I want to do. Big change. The thing is, this big change isn't going to happen in 5 minutes. There's a lot of choices I have to make if I'm going to do this. And not everybody's going to be a fan of it. It does seem to make a difference, though. While Aries is very self-sufficient, this does make a big difference. I'm kind of bothered that I have to have some loss to get what I actually want. Especially this 5 of Cups, and this is normally on the 5 of Cups, which this one does, there's 3 cups knocked over, there's 2 cups that are still holding liquid. But when I keep looking at the 2 of Cups here, like I keep thinking of the 2 of Cups. Like, that's what I would really love to have. The 3 of Cups knocked over is like, I'm definitely going to be... Certain people are not going to talk to me after this. I keep feeling like certain people are not going to talk to me if I do this. Or, at the very least, they're not going to like me after this. And it may be a permanent thing. Okay. So the first thing is, before I make my decision, I feel like I have to do the 2-year, 5-year, 10-year thing is what I call it. If you make this decision, where do you see your life in 2 years? You know, how is your life going to be? Who's going to be in it? Who's not? In 5 years, how is your life going to be? Who's going to be in it? Who's not? In 10 years, how is your life going to be? Who's going to be in it? Who's not? The 2, 5, 10 is what I call it. I use that for my own life a lot. I feel like this will make this really easy for you to decide where you want to be. And you might have been avoiding this because I feel like when I look at it in this perspective, it's kind of easy to make the decision. Because once you make your decision on where you want to be in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, you're just going to naturally start moving forward. When I see this, what does it say? The goddess of the moon. A lot of times this does talk about full moon energy, but it doesn't have to be a full moon energy. This could be also a dark moon energy where you clear out what you don't want, and once you get rid of what you don't want, then the first sliver of the moon, new moon, shows up and you start creating what you do want. Keep that in mind. Because I'm getting like, it could be a very subtle start. It could be a very subtle start, but once you've made up your mind and you see it for what you want, it's almost like, you know, buying the book to write your first novel. You're buying the paper to write your first novel, or you're buying, maybe you're going to buy yourself a special laptop and it's just going to be for writing stuff only. Once it's like, this is the first step, first step might be just you looking at online to see what's affordable for you and what would actually work for you. That could literally be the mild first step, but once you do that first step, you're not going to look back. I feel like they're trying to give you a heads up. Once this starts on its path, it's going to take a life of its own. You're clearly in control of it, but it's kind of like every step you take, you're not going to want to go backwards. And you're probably going to gain momentum. That's the thing with this card too, which I feel like people are going to notice. People who actually know you and know you well are going to realize, oh, Aries made their first step. They don't usually go backwards. They're going to start taking more steps. They're going to gain momentum, and before you know it, they're going to be running to that goal, whatever that goal is. People who really know you are going to understand that once you've started moving forward, it is what it is. People are going to also start talking, and people are going to start wondering where you're going. You don't have to keep it a mystery. Okay, that's what this is saying. This is saying what you don't have to do. You don't have to keep it a mystery. Once you've started moving forward, nobody's going to get in your way. In fact, dare I say, once people know where you're going, you're probably going to get more help than not. People will actually help you, because I feel like, especially people who really know you and really care about you, they're going to realize once you've made your decision, and that's that. And they're just going to, I feel like people will either get out of your way or help you move forward the way they want. You don't have to keep this a mystery. Once it starts, I think I said this before, once it starts, it's just going to go the way it's going to go. You seem to have your own momentum. It's almost like, you know, once you start down that, if you're going down a water slide, it's just kind of like, you're just kind of navigating yourself, like just kind of enjoying the ride as you go. You're clearly the one making it happen, but it's just kind of, it has its own life. It just keeps moving forward. They're also advising to not deal with people you don't need to deal with. Clearly, you don't shy away from a fight. Usually, Aries that I know, they don't shy away from an argument. They'll tell people, this is where I stand and that's how it is. But you don't have to validate yourself to anybody. It's just going to cause an error and delay that you don't need. You don't need to validate yourself to anybody. It doesn't really matter if they understand. The advice here is to not go out of your way to explain things. It's almost like, say you're somebody in your life, a relative or somebody, you're like, you know they don't like what you're doing, you know they don't understand it. Fine, so they don't. Don't go out of your way to make it so they understand. If they really need to know, I'm sure they'll show up and they'll ask. I feel like people who really know Aries know that that's probably not the smart idea, because you'll tell them, and you'll tell them in a quite pointed fashion. So usually they'll stay out of your way anyway. Let them stay out of your way. Let them stay out of your way, because I feel like this might have an energy where you might end up putting somebody in their place that you didn't need to. And sometimes, and I feel like Aries knows this, you say something matter of fact, but people can be, I think the term is butthurt, over it for years. You might be like, what, it was just a fact. I don't understand why you're so bent out of shape about it. Meanwhile, they just can't get over it because you ripped their head off. Sometimes Aries knows that happened. Other times it's just kind of like, what, it was just the truth. What's the problem? It's not like I said it in a vulgar way. It was just, this is what it is. If people don't get in your face asking for an answer, don't go out of your way to give them an answer. That's what they're saying. I feel like that's what that's really saying. Don't go out of your way to give people answers because you're like, I don't want people to get the wrong idea. Let them think what they're going to think. It'll sort out in the wash in the end. It doesn't matter. You have other things to tend to. Don't try to make people... Even I understand it's going to be people that you care about, that you're thinking maybe I should let them know. Let them come forward and ask if it's that important. Don't go out of your way to explain it. Don't go out of your way to explain it. There is some disappointment here, but overall, people are going to realize that like you have to do what you have to do. I feel like there's no way around it. At some point, there will be fallout, but you're going to be happier. Even though there's going to be fallout, overall, you're going to be happier. This change needed to happen. You're doing what you have to do. You're going down. This is your path. This is where you need to go. It's not so much about you taking the path. It's all about how you handle it. I feel like that's why they're giving that advice. Don't go out of your way to explain things to people. If they come into your view and if they come into your view, one, that's not enough. If they come into your view and they ask, not just because they're there, don't tell them what's going on just because they're there. Let them ask. If they want to know, let them ask. Otherwise, just leave it where it is. Because they know you well enough. They should. Most of these people should know, like, once you've made up your mind, you're going where you need to go. And you're not doing anything that's wrong. It's just something that maybe they don't like. And there's going to be fallout, and that's just how it's going to be. But there's no need to worry about it. Because overall, just keep this in mind, and it's probably not going to shock you. When it's all said and done, maybe 2 years from now, maybe 5 years from now, everything will be fine again. Everything will work out the way it's supposed to be. You'll look back and you realize you made a good decision. You realize they should have done it probably sooner. I don't know why some of you are going to think that, but some of you might. Yeah, I should have done that sooner. I shouldn't have let it go on as long as I did. It's fine. Look at the long term. Look where you're going to end up in the long term. Things will come back around. You'll get what you need to go. Everybody that matters in the long run, you'll still be connected with. You'll still have a very strong bond with. They don't seem to be leaving you. Everything will be good again. It's just a change that you need to do. This is your time to do what you need to do. This is just how that goes. Sure, people may be bent out of shape in the short run, but in the long run, they'll get over it. I know that sounds callous, but it is what it is, I guess. Hopefully it didn't sound too callous. All right, anything else with this? I think this was a pretty good reading for Aries. I feel like it was good. I feel like it was realistic, and they're just kind of like, hey, it's time to make this choice. Let's make this choice and move on. You're going to do what you want to do either way. I feel like they're just saying, yeah, definitely, you are going to do what you want to do either way. You're kind of stagnating on something. Let's go. That's what I'm getting. If this reading hits, I feel like you know what I'm talking about. If it doesn't hit, don't worry about it, of course. Anything else? All right, I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.